Hey everybody, welcome to PC Perspective. I'm Ryan Schrout. We're here with another special edition live stream. We've got a new guest with his first time on the show.
Yep, first time.
Jacob Freeman from EVGA. What do we call you? What's your title? What are you?
Product manager.
What would you say? What would you say you do here?
Here
or there? I guess.
My title is product manager.
Okay.
At EVGA, but actually it's a lot of roles. You know, certainly working on new products, upcoming products, existing products, and working with the community as part of it as well, and working with great guys like you. Right?
You seem to have a lot of stuff on your plate.
We stay pretty busy.
Product development, product, let's say, support, community involvement. You go to the trade shows, I know. I see you there all the time, and some of the bigger LAN parties.
Yeah, we certainly stay pretty busy. There's a small group of us who do kind of share a lot of roles in that kind of way. And
do you need me to tell Joe that you need some more help?
Is Ken?
Ken, yeah. No, he can't hire Ken.
Oh, okay.
No. I meant other people. Other people. Okay.
All right.
Well, we're here today, guys. We're going to talk about quite a few EVGA products. We're going to talk about video cards. You can see those here. We're going to talk about motherboards. You can see those here. We're going to talk about power supplies. We're going to talk about mice. And basically in that order. And the important part here, I think, most important, I think everybody should be paying attention here, is the fact that we're going to give away all of these types of items.
Yep.
Something from each of these categories. We have a GTX 980 we're going to give away, a GTX 970. We have like an X99 classified we're going to give away, 3 X99 boards, some mice, a power supply. And all you have to do to participate in that is watch our live stream. That's it. That's all you got to do. And in fact, I think I'll go ahead and give away the secret on how you can enter into this contest. We will draw the names on the live stream. But to enter, all you need to do is go to pcpar.com right now. I think that top news post will be EVGA live stream, learn about Maxwell, X99, and win prizes. And on that post that you may have seen before, new on that post is a form, asks you for your name, your email, and your favorite EVGA product of all time. Fill those out. And we will draw random winners at selected times throughout the stream to announce who is getting all these awesome prizes that Jacob and EVGA brought for us. You only can enter once, and that's it. Like once you enter, you're in for the rest of the live stream and everything. So I think that'll work out really well.
What's your favorite EVGA product of all time?
Of all time, I am partial to the SR2s.
Okay,
like
that was
the dual socket. What did we call? What was the form factor called?
HPTX.
HPTX.
Right? Yeah.
It was wider and longer.
Yeah, it was huge
than anything else.
And when it came out, it fit into, I think at that time, maybe 3 different cases. But after as time went on, there was more options for that. But we really, when we developed that product, we really wanted to do something different. So
go there, fill out that form, and then we will kind of after we talk about each section of products, we will announce winners as we go. And also, by the way, if you're watching this live, you're watching this after the fact, if you hear any additional background noise from our normal productions, those are fans in the room attempting to keep Jacob and I from sweating profusely on the stream. The air conditioning went out. I'm going to blame Tom. Tom Peterson from NVIDIA was here yesterday doing a stream, and the AC died while he was in the office. And we haven't been able to get it fixed yet. It's not. We're going to replace the whole system on Tuesday, but we need a little bit of airflow because it's kind of warm, and we're in a little box full of computers. So
luckily, these run pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, another added benefit of the new GM204 GPU. Interesting. So let's start with the graphics cards, right? So last week, NVIDIA announced GTX 980, GTX 970, new GPU family. Tom was here yesterday, kind of talked over the architecture and the new features. But what we want to talk about here today is what you guys bring to the table with these parts. In particular, kind of like, I don't know, what's your lineup looking like for 980 and 970?
Sure. So on the 980 and 970, we have a few different models. But the really new thing that we did for this product is a new cooler.
Okay.
And more so than a new cooler, it's more like a new fan.
Okay.
So we call
Do both of these have that on there?
Both of those do have it, yeah. And
so this here is the GTX 980 ACX2, right? Is that the designation for the new cooler? Is ACX 2.0?
Yeah, ACX 2.0. So we, I think with the 780, we launched the ACX 1.0. And that was the first time that we really focused on the cooler. on our graphics cards in a while. So the ACX 1.0 it came out and it was extremely popular. That one had like dual ball bearing fans, significantly lower fan noise and lower thermals as well.
Okay.
And so with the ACX 2.0, the main thing that we focused on is the fan. And the fan, so like the fan blades, the motor.
Okay. And what does that gain you either in terms of performance or lifespan or what are the benefits of that?
Well, I do have a handy little thing here.
Ah, yes.
Okay, so the main thing with the ACX 2.0 fan is number one, the fan blades. So we increase the fan blades to 11 fan blades. That increases the amount of airflow to the heatsink. And number two is we changed the actual orientation of the blades. It's called a swept blade design.
Yeah, I noticed that when I got the 970 in.
Yeah.
So if I can, it'd probably be better shown in those pictures, but it almost looked like they were backwards.
Right. Yeah.
Right, but they were still spinning in the same direction that I was used to.
Yeah, and the benefit of that is lower fan noise.
Okay.
The actual fins creating less fan noise. But the big addition for us is the actual motor. So we improved the motor design on these cards. It's a 6-slot, 3-phase motor. So what that means is it's very, very efficient.
Okay.
So, for example, like we have on here, 250% lower fan power than the reference cooler. And the reason why that is important is, ever since Kepler was introduced, we have a maximum power target, right? You have your power target slider.
Yeah.
And so the fan power consumption is actually part of that. So
really?
if you lower the power consumption of the fan, you actually free up more power for the GPU.
For total board power then.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So if you have a fixed power target, if you were able to lower that by a watt or a couple watts, then that's additional power for your GPU. So it can help with overclocking, essentially. And there's a lot of variables there, but when you're power constrained, then certainly it can help.
Okay. What is this about, like longer lifespan or quieter cooler? I mean, so these are designations. Looks like we're comparing to the reference cooler, which is what I actually reviewed initially.
Yeah. The longer lifespan is actually compared to some of the other, not the reference card, but some of the other
just competitors
that use sleeve bearing fans, and that's because of the double ball bearing fans. It's able to be.
Gotcha.
The lifespan is much improved.
Now, does anything change on the heat sinks of these coolers as well? We've got new fans. I think we were looking earlier about a couple of different things on the heat sinks. One, we should probably bring up, there was debates or issues showing up about the first wave of GTX 970s that came out that had, I guess, what would you call it, ACX 1.0 cooler implementation?
We had, some of them are ACX 1.0, some of them are ACX 2.0. The way to look at it is essentially the superclock and superclock models, SSC models, have the 3 heat pipe design, which a lot of people were asking questions about.
Yeah, so explain, I guess you were explaining it to me why it was like that. So for people that don't know, there were some of the early 970s that came out had a heatsink on it that had 3 heat pipes. 2 of the heat pipes were making direct contact with the GPU, and it looked like a third one wasn't making as good as contact with the GPU or any.
So the 2 heat pipes. So the 2 heat pipes that are making direct contact with the GPU, those are 8mm heat pipes.
Okay.
And those are the primary means of dissipating the heat from the GPU. There is a third heat pipe there that's a smaller heat pipe. It's a 6mm heat pipe, and that is just used as kind of auxiliary heat pipe to help transfer additional a little bit more heat, but not significantly more. That extra 6mm heat pipe helps lower it about 2 degrees Celsius or so. So it's not the primary means of offloading the GPU heat, but it does help.
So it's doing something. It just maybe looks odd to people that are used to seeing specific fan designs.
Some people thought that was not the design, that was not the design, but I can tell you that's not the case. We certainly validated it with that design. But the other thing that I would like to mention is that the 3 heat pipe design is actually only used on a few of the 970 models. Basically, the first wave of reviews that we sent out were using that.
Okay.
So we have the superclock, we have SSC, and we have FTW.
All right. Do you have pictures of those other coolers on here?
Yeah. So
as well?
You can see a picture of. So this is the 970 FTW design.
Okay.
So you can see it's actually
that's actually the cooler that's on this card right here.
Yep. Yeah, so you can see it's a pretty significant significantly different design
Yeah,
compared to the superclock. And this cooler is actually about 4 degrees Celsius lower than the superclock. So, you know, with the FTW model, you get higher clock speeds, you get double BIOS, that board has double BIOS, and then you also get the improved cooler as well.
Okay. 980's using the same type of cooler?
We have 980 here, you know.
Oh, okay, so, even a little bit beefier?
Yeah, so you have 5 heat pipes there, and you kind of have a copper base plate as well. So, yeah, the design is drastically different. So there was a lot of customers asking, or end users asking, if that 3 heat pipe design was used on 980, and the answer is no. This is the ACX 2.0 for the 980.
So, I mean, is the goal then to bring that new fan design, the ACX 2.0, to all of the cards in your lineup now, the 900 series?
Primarily on the 900 series, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, you'll see us continue with the ACX 2.0 models, and you'll see it on more cards as well in the future. And you know, we'll continue to develop the ACX product is, you know, a long-term product. We'll continue to develop it, make improvements, and yeah. So.
What can we talk about for? So we have the 970 FTW here. We got the 980 SC.
Yeah. So
what else is
980? So we have the superclock model. That's that one there.
Yep.
And then we have an FTW model as well here. So this one has a little bit more power phases. This is a 6-phase power design.
What's the SC? Is it 4?
4 power phases. Yep. 6-phase power phase on the FTW. We also have dual BIOS. On that one as well. And then we also have our high-end model, which is right here. That's the classified model. So that one's 10 power phases.
Okay.
10 power phases and triple BIOS.
Triple. All right. Well, one more than 2.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. This is a question I get all the time. Go ahead and close that out and get the background. The white kind of blows out everything here. When you guys are designing these cards, and you've got SC, SSC, FTW classified, like just, you know, you've kind of got your progression of products there. How aggressive are you in terms of out-of-box overclocking? That's kind of one of my complaints about just almost all add-in cards in general is, you know, we've seen how much headroom the 980 can have, right? We were able to run at over 1500 megahertz yesterday when we were doing our manual overclocking.
Right.
But obviously how high does that classified board go in specs? Do you know offhand? We didn't really talk about
13 something, I believe.
Okay.
Can't remember the exact.
So do you consider that to be pretty aggressive, or do you think that you guys do that because you're binning parts, you need to leave more headroom for other people to do other things?
I think a big part of it is, you know, we try to maintain a yield rate that we can offer the product, you know, a good supply of the product. I mean, if we clocked it so high and we run it through our tests and, you know, only 2% of the cards pass, then that's kind of an issue for supply. So we try to maintain a good balance there, but we also try to be aggressive on the clocks as well. And, you know, we do put it through a pretty rigorous set of testing in order to validate it at the clock speeds that we ship it at, even beyond the clock speeds that we ship it at, in order to make sure that it's stable for long term.
What is this sitting behind here?
So this here, I don't know if you can see it on there.
Here, let me show it on this. All right, there you go.
So that is the hydrocopper water block for the GTX 980.
Ah, very nice.
So we teamed up with EVGA for this block design. It's actually a little bit similar to our Titan block, but we made some improvements, changes. So the first thing you notice is that there's actually 6 inlet outlet holes here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
You have a lot more options for routing the tubing, especially when you have cards that are right next to each other. And the second thing that we added was an extra LED.
Oh, okay. All right.
More bling.
Is this world exclusive? Is this the first time anybody's ever seen this?
Yeah, there's literally one of these in.
This literally showed up overnight from
Taiwan.
Yeah,
we were
here for our stream.
We were in the
today.
Process of testing it in Taiwan. I'm like, I need that for the stream.
I could tell they were in the process of testing it because there was a little bit of condensation still inside the window, so I know that they were actually using it.
The first sample.
So don't drop it, is what you're telling me.
Try not to.
Okay. All right. We were gonna install it on a card. We got the screws here. We just, we didn't have time to do it yet.
Yeah.
That's okay. So when can we expect this, you think?
I think that we definitely in October, hopefully the earlier part of October.
Okay.
Start seeing them.
Now, is this something you will sell by itself, or just
separately and on the card itself.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both.
All right. That's pretty neat. I think a lot of people would be excited about this. I'm very curious. You don't know anything about the results yet, about how much better overclocking can be?
Overclocking, like yeah. I mean, literally, we just got the thing. I can tell you temperatures are significantly reduced, as you would expect under load. But overclocking, I think 1500 easily, 1600 possibly. But of course, there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
could vary there.
Overclocking is always kind of at your own risk, and there's a lot of variability there. But that's okay. I'm pretty interested in that. Like, to take a part that is really built to be super power efficient and run low power, and then hopefully you'll have some utility for me to just jack up the voltage to it, right? Just go over volting.
There is some headroom on the voltage. With precision, you have some headroom on the voltage, but it's nothing crazy, of course. That could blow up the board or anything.
Yeah.
But.
I think we wanted to talk about an update to the 970s.
Oh, that's right. So actually, the GTX, all of the ACX 2.0 models, 980 ACX 2.0 will ship this way. Essentially, the fans. So there was a lot of we received a lot of feedback about the initial 970 that we sent out.
Right.
The fan noise. So admittedly, the fan curve on our 970 was perhaps a bit aggressive, especially during idle. So we listened to that. And the 980 ACX2 will ship with basically a semi-passive design. So when the GPU is below about 65 degrees Celsius, the fans will turn off.
Is that working over there now, Ken? It's a little warm in here, so I'm curious to see how this works. So that is an actual, the demos you see, the screenshots, that's running on that system. So that's the ACX 2.0 980, right?
Yep.
On there?
Yeah.
And so it's running, and the fans are not spinning.
Yeah, so right now it's about...
go ahead and open up precision
So
there.
right now it's running at like 40 Celsius, 42 degrees Celsius, so the fans are off.
All right, so you can see there on that system, no fans spinning. And when do those fans kick on with that update?
About 65 degrees.
65.
You can customize that through.
Oh, really?
Through software, setting your own fan curve.
So if I set it to like 90,
you probably wouldn't want to do that. you might be able to.
Yeah, well, okay. All right.
Yeah, but you can see here zero RPM.
So the update will come for the 970s that are out there now.
So 980 ACX2 will ship that way.
Ship with it.
And 970, ACX2 models, we will provide an update that will enable that.
Do you have a time frame on that by chance?
Not exact, but it will be rather soon.
Okay.
Within the next couple weeks, I would say.
We'll update ours and look at it again that way too. Okay, that's pretty cool. I mean, do you this improved design, like, so you've the majority of the work on ACX2 is on the fan, you kind of said, right?
The biggest changes,
the biggest change
was on the actual fan and the fan motor and the fan blades.
Okay, all right. I think we'll have some questions on this type of stuff soon. We'll save some questions on the per section basis once we get past it. So we talked about the water block. We talked about other models. Do we want to go over? Why don't we? Let's give something away real fast.
Sure.
We'll give away the GTX 970. Is this an ACX2? It is.
Yeah.
We're gonna give away a GTX 970 already. And I feel like this 980 maybe should be saved for the end of the stream.
I think that sounds pretty good.
I think we should save the 980 for the end of the stream. So we're going to give away this GTX 970 now. If you joined in late and you don't know how to enter, if you go to PCPro.com and you go to the page that is titled EVGA live stream, learn about blah, 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 there's a form at the bottom, name, email, favorite EVGA product. That's all it is, and then we just do a random pick, which I'm going to go ahead and do right now, because I want to announce this is something that they're going to be really excited about. So I want to make sure we get every name in there. So let's do... I know this is riveting, riveting stuff as well. 10.023 to 10.332. And you have decided that we don't have to just do US, Canada.
Yeah,
with this.
Yeah,
that's I appreciate that, right? We get a global audience on these types of events,
right.
and I hate kind of restricting.
We understand that,
stuff.
too. I mean, we have giveaways and such, and we certainly try to open it up to as many people as possible. And we have offices pretty much worldwide, so
yeah,
we can ship from almost anywhere.
All right, so let's see. I have that winner. It is. I'm not going to give out the Chaz Boss. I won't give out your email address. And his favorite EVGA product of all time was the Kingpin 780 Ti, so a very recent product. That was enormous.
Yeah, it was. That card did very well. We were very happy with the reception on the card and the feedback. People really liked it a lot. So
yeah. Plans for another one?
I will tell you that there is another one in the very early stages.
Okay.
But that's all I can really say at this
All right. So Chaz Boss, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your first name there. You won a GTX 970. ACX2.
Yep.
What's while we're thinking about it, what's like kind of the price scaling on these different parts, right? You have a 329 part.
329.
And then it kind of goes up to, what are your steps out there?
Usually anywhere from $5 to $10 as you increase from SC to SSC to FTW, somewhere around there.
Okay.
But you know, we have other models as well. Like we have a single fan version as well. That's a blower design.
Okay.
And
is it the reference cooler?
It's a different cooler, but it is blower. It is a blower design.
Interesting.
And the reason for that actually is there are some people who still prefer the blower design, especially if you have for like very small chassis.
Yeah.
And system builders really like the blower design because it keeps down
exhaust.
Yeah, it keeps down the ambient temperature inside the case. So.
Yeah. Interesting.
But of course, if you have really, really good airflow in your case, then by all means, you probably want to go with the dual fan design. I mean,
it's better for the GPU.
It will keep the GPU cooler, and you know, with GPU boost, the cooler the GPU is, the faster it goes.
Yeah. So. Speaking of which, let's show off. Let's talk about the new Precision X. This is 16.
Precision X16
that we're looking at.
It launched about a week ago. So some of the things that we did differently. So one of my favorite features is this right here. It actually can identify the card that's in the machine.
Yes. Okay.
So the way that we do that is we're able to identify the sub-device ID, which is basically the BIOS, and can identify which card it is.
Okay.
So we changed the UI primarily. So in order to access the kind of vitals here, you click right once there, and then if you double click, it'll bring up all of the vitals here. You can configure which ones are shown and which ones aren't shown from the software. And of course, your favorite is in there too, frame time.
Oh, nice.
And then if you
nobody needs to know about that. It's perfectly fine.
And if you click one right, one more, here's all your settings.
Okay.
So of course you have the fan settings. You can set a custom fan curve right in here.
Oh, nice.
So,
can you add other points to that too, or?
Yeah, you can as well. I think if you right click or double click.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Somehow there's a way. I think it's right click, but
there
we go.
Okay.
So, yep.
All right.
So
custom control on that.
So yeah, and you have your voltage control over here. We really tried to.
So on the voltage control, I do have a question. If we look at it, you can slide that up. We don't have to apply it, but go ahead and slide that all the way up. We're at, what's it go to plus 0.87. Can you go higher than that on this software with your cards? Does it vary per card, or?
It varies by the GPU.
Okay.
So this is the highest allowed on a GTX 980.
Okay.
So that's an offset.
Right.
87 millivolt offset off of whatever your voltage is running.
Okay.
And you know,
and you can look at whatever voltage is running through the monitoring stuff.
Yeah, it shows it right here.
Well. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah.
And pretty much everything is done by offsets. Your GPU clock is done. I mean, with GPU boost, everything is offsets because the clock is dynamic.
The overclocking is very much the same with 980 as it was with 780.
Mm-hmm.
And even really 680.
Yeah, basically.
There were some changes from 680 to 780, but
GPU Boost 2.0 changed a couple of things. It added the temperature target, I believe.
Yep, and the ability to change priority on it too.
And you can switch the priority. So,
how have you seen overclocking on these cards? And we talked about it a little bit. I was able to get just about 1500 megahertz on my reference sample. I haven't tested any of your retail cards.
I was testing that exact same card that's in the machine there, and I think I was doing like 1540, I want to say.
Like a consistent speed, kind of. Yeah.
So overclocking. I mean, Maxwell is an excellent GPU for overclocking.
Let me ask you this: you don't work for NVIDIA. You guys are an NVIDIA partner. Why would they leave so much on the table performance-wise? Why wouldn't they? Like, I mean, when we did our testing, the overclock cards, I don't know, it's like 25% faster than at stock.
That's more of a question for Tom, but you know, certainly yield is part of it, and also the base clock. You know, actually, one thing I forgot to mention is when we determine our overclocks, we need to validate the base clock as well, and sometimes the base clock is harder to validate than the boost clock.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because you have to run a very power-hungry test and maintain the base clock and that can be challenging sometimes to find GPUs that can do that. So that
so when we say power-hungry things like FurMark or
similar applications, yeah, to that. I mean, not FurMark, but very power-hungry applications. You want to maintain that base
not just
clock.
Games, but the other stuff, perhaps.
So, so that's a big part of it as well, definitely. And also, keeping the card running cool, keeping it quiet. Clocks play a role in that as well.
Anything else in the new Precision X we want to show off, showcase?
I think that covers the majority of it. Of course, there's a lot more features. You can configure your. Here's where you configure all the OSD
How much stuff shows up on the OSD, yeah.
And
which you can put a lot of stuff on there if you want to.
It will run all the way down. And then we added the tray icon and the keyboard LCD, which is the Logitech keyboard.
I was going to ask what keyboards that supported.
Yeah.
But it's the Logitech. Yep. There are multiple of them that are.
Yeah, they have an API for.
That's cool. I like that idea. I may have to get one of those.
Yeah, it's pretty
keyboards
cool.
just to use for that. Because when we're doing our GPU testing, we need to monitor that stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So
one more thing that is not necessarily new, but we have a feature here called K-Boost, and what that does is originally it was for Kepler Boost.
Okay.
We kind of kept the name.
You didn't change it to M-Boost?
Yeah, we didn't change it to M-Boost. We kept it. People already knew what it was, and basically what that does is locks. So if you enable that, it locks the card at base clock, even when you're idle.
Why would you want to do that?
There are a certain number of people who do not like the fact that the card drops to very low clocks during less stressful applications.
Okay.
Like Counter-Strike 1.6 or something.
So this is like somebody who sets their processor performance
same kind of thing.
Fixed.
Yeah,
speed.
With the CPUs.
Does that allow that to go over into boost speeds too, or is it still?
You can still overclock the exact same way, just using an offset.
So it just never goes below base.
And it'll just stick at the whatever you set it to.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
Of course, the card will consume more power. It'll be louder.
It'll be louder, hotter.
But for customers who want that kind of thing, then that's an option.
That's cool. And this software is free.
It's free. Yep.
And comes with all your cards. Download it off the website.
Yeah, it's free.
And you can use this with other GPUs.
Yeah,
right?
any NVIDIA.
Which I totally appreciate.
Any NVIDIA cards, essentially.
Right. What happens if I start it up with a Radeon card in there?
I don't think it'll work. I don't even think it'll load. It'll just say no NVIDIA card detected or something.
And I know there's competition between everybody, but I appreciate the fact that I can become comfortable with one tool and be able to use it across an array too. So very cool.
And the other kind of tool we have that some people may not know about is this one here. It's called the OC Scanner X, I should say. And what this tool is essentially it's a benchmarking / stress testing tool.
Is this one of those things that is maybe difficult to hit to validate base clock?
There may be some tests in here that are
like that.
It's not. We don't use this particular test, but there are similar tests in here. Basically, so this was actually we co-developed this with the developer of FurMark.
Oh, okay.
But it's not a FurMark application, that's so stressful. It's more to validate your overclocks. There's a lot of tests in here. There's a physics test, of course. The Furry tests, which are stressful, like similar to FurMark.
Yeah.
And there's a new one in here that we launched.
A compute one?
Yeah, there's a compute test in here, so you can see what it's doing here.
That's cool.
So it's doing some compute on the GPU.
So is this included with Precision X? Is it a separate thing?
It's a separate download.
Okay.
But it is free, again, like Precision. Free for everyone. Works on this one, I think.
Stress tests, neat demos, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So and actually there's a benchmark built into it as well. And once you run that, after the benchmark is done, you can upload it to a database, and then you can compare it with other people. So
all right, well, give that a shot. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Very neat. What else? Anything else on the GPU side? Like, let me look through here and see if we have any specific GPU questions. When will the 980 classified be released?
980 classified is targeted to launch the mid to late October is the current target.
Mid to late October. Okay, so now you've got your timeline for that. This is a question. I think some people will maybe think it's funny. I think for somebody who's maybe new coming into it is how come you guys don't make AMD cards? MSI, ASUS, they make NVIDIA cards, they make AMD cards. EVGA does not.
Yeah, we get that question a lot.
So what is the answer? What's the appropriate answer there?
So there's a couple reasons. The first and foremost, we have a great relationship with NVIDIA. There's that's a big part of it as well, and there's no reason to really for us to offer another solution at this moment. We think that especially the latest graphics cards have great features. The other part of it is it allows us to focus and deliver the best support and products in that category.
Yeah.
So just like we only do Intel motherboards, we only do NVIDIA GPUs. A lot of people really like the EVGA support, and a big part of that is because we focus on a specific product. We have in-house experts, you could say. So those are the primary reasons. The other reason I would say is because we love Tom.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. He doesn't need any more of that. He doesn't need any more pressure or head bloating.
Yeah, but so those are the two primary reasons. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We answered the question about the hydrocopper and LEDs. We answered the question about are you can continue to develop blower style fans.
Yep. Oh, one more thing.
Yeah.
The 980 ACX2. Some people asked about this too. This card actually has a LED up here. So this lights up. I don't know if you can see it on that. You can kind of see it on that system over there.
Maybe you can. And towards the back there where the power is. Is that what I'm seeing too? Yeah.
Yeah, towards the back there.
It's hard to see from that angle.
Hard to see from that angle.
Also, those fans still not spinning.
Yeah. So it's still running nice and cool.
I don't know if you've had time to test this yet. What about 2D clocks with multiple monitors? Have you seen any differences from how the GTX 7 series handle it versus the GTX 9?
Honestly, I haven't tried it on 9 series. I know that
I haven't either yet.
I know that a lot of people. We get that question pretty often too.
Yeah.
Is why does my GPU clocks increase with multiple monitors? And I believe the reason is the cards has to run at a higher pixel clock in order to maintain. I believe you get the same thing with 120 hertz if you enable 120 hertz.
Okay. Yes.
So very similar thing, and that's. My understanding is that is related to the pixel clock.
Okay, and it's not a specific EVGA issue. It's really more of an architecture issue. But Scott wants to know: will K-Boost still drop it down to lower clocks if the card is reaching unsafe temperatures?
Yeah,
it will.
Yep.
Okay, so it's not going to lock up your system if it does that, or could it do that, but it won't hurt your card?
No, the card will just. You still have that temperature target there.
Yeah.
So once you hit that temperature target. Even if you have K-Boost enabled, once you hit the temperature target, then the card will throttle.
Okay. All right. I think that's pretty cool. Don't forget, we're not doing it right now. I think we need to save this for the end. I really do.
I think I agree with you there.
We have a GTX 980 that we're going to give away to some lucky viewer, but we're going to save that.
Maybe we can ask the people in the chat. So we planned for a 980 reference card, but maybe we should change it to an ACX2 card.
Do you think they'll say no? I don't think they'll say no. I don't. Well, would you rather win the betterer card or the not betterer card?
Betterer card.
The betterer card, right? So okay, we're gonna change this. Instead of an SC model down here, we'll make it an ACX2.
Yeah, this one.
We'll give you that ACX2. Yeah. Okay. All right. Very cool. So stay tuned. We're gonna get to that. Now let's move away from GPUs.
Yep.
And let's talk about motherboards for a little bit.
Sure.
You guys just released. I guess was it last month?
Early September was it? I believe.
Wow. Okay.
A lot of stuff.
I know. It's been really bad. So a bunch of new X99 motherboards. I think 3 different models.
Yeah, today we have 3 X99 motherboards.
All right, so give me kind of a general overview here. Like maybe let's start with this board here and kind of go over what is different about these models. What did you guys change?
Sure.
We know the basics of this is Haswell E platform. It's DDR4 memory. But what else have you guys done to the board and platform?
Yeah, so that's our it's called the Classified, X99 Classified.
It's a good brand.
And that one adds Creative Core 30 audio, for one. So you get premium sound. Also 4-way SLI, of course, natively. If you have a 5820, does not support.
If you have a Core i7 5820, you cannot run 4-way. Right.
Yeah.
And that was something we brought up with Tom yesterday as well, is the fact that it goes 8884, and they are hard locking it that if it sees by 4, regardless if it's Gen 1, 2, or 3, it doesn't allow it.
Yeah, right.
I have a feeling they may be looking at changing that, but he was like, it's a niche of a niche of a niche.
Technically it should be possible to run 4-way SLI off of 4X, but would you really want to?
Well, he had another good point. It's like chances are, if you're the kind of person that's running 4 GTX 970s or 980s, you're not going to buy the 5820. You're probably going to buy the 5960 anyway processor. So
I mean, you should. Right?
You should. I mean, if it's just money at that point, it's just money.
And that board has 10 power phases, so it has a few more power phases than the other boards in our lineup.
I like the side-mounted ATX. Yep. I'm a fan of that.
Right-angled 24-pin power connector. We even have right-angled fan headers as well.
Oh yeah, look at that. Okay.
So
you got 10 SATA ports along here. No SATA Express. What's the decision on that?
So you can add SATA Express, but you'll lose some. Unless you add an external controller, you'll lose a few SATAs. I think 2 maybe.
That green glow off the wall.
And for most of our customers, we found that they still prefer to run SATA 6G devices.
Yeah, and you do have over here. You've got an M2 slot,
we do have
right?
M.2,
and that's a PCI Express slot, right? Yeah. So you can if you
there's actually 2 on this board.
Oh,
there's one there.
Oh, look at that.
And then
there's
here.
one here. Okay.
So one of them is the one on the left. There is a 4X PCI M.2, and the one in the center there is a 1X.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool. Yep. Here's more side mounted, right-angled boards on there. You've got right-angled USB 3 on the bottom as well. All right, that's pretty cool. And in terms of external connectivity, you've got 4 USB 3, 6 USB 2. I guess this is a CMOS reset.
Yeah, clear CMOS reset button, and there's one here as well. So hopefully that's hopefully that's good enough for Maury. I know he likes to use that one there, but
the battery, I think that's pretty good. That's a fairly good location.
Yeah,
I mean,
got two-way SLI and 2-way SLI.
It goes here and here, doesn't it?
Slot
so
1
it might
to 4,
actually be covered in 2-way.
It might be covered in 2-way, but
he'll be all right.
Yeah.
We got dual Intel
gigabit
Ethernet, and then you've got your analog and digital audio. And what was the Creative
Core 3D audio.
Okay.
It's a quad-core audio chip.
All right. And also, I guess I'll point out, we've got this PCIe power connector down here.
That is auxiliary power for the PCI Express bus.
Okay.
So one of the things that we found a few generations ago was that if you didn't have that, and if you were running like 4-way SLI, there was a lot of power being pulled through the 24-pin power connector and actually causing some of them to burn.
Oh.
So we that was back in the X58 days, I think.
Okay.
And so we implemented this here. Whoops, kind of loud. We implemented that 6-pin power connector there. To help with that.
And you still have the 2 8-pins back here as well for secondary processor power, right?
Yeah. So that can provide up to 300 watts of power, but in most cases, you're not going to really need that unless you're doing something really crazy. Yeah. So all of our other boards have just a single 8-pin CPU power.
You want to go through some of the BIOS stuff and then talk about the other boards? You want to talk about the other boards now, or?
Sure, we can.
Let's look at this one. I think this one's really interesting. This is the one I was most excited to get. This is the Micro ATX version of an X99 board. It still supports 2A SLI.
Yep.
Right. And it does support Crossfire, right?
Yes.
It does.
And technically, if you could figure it out, you could get 3-way to work in there somehow.
If you had a 1-slot card.
Yeah. It is supported, but it would be tricky to get it to work.
Finding a product that does
but if you could figure it out, then it would work. I mean, you could probably use like those PCI Express ribbon riser cards to do it.
There you go. Do that with a like a wall-mounted PC that people like to do now.
I mean, that's possible.
Sure. So, I mean, I like this board. It packs in a ton of capability into a small, I'm blowing out the image there, small form factor.
Yeah, that one is actually very popular. That one and the classified one are probably our most popular motherboards. And, like you said, that's a lot of power in a small place.
Any reason why there's, like more USB 2 ports than USB 3 ports? That would be my only kind of initial...
So natively, the chipset supports 6.
Right.
So we have 4 on the I/O, and then we have 2 on a header.
Down here, yeah.
So that's 6. If we added an external controller, you could potentially get more, but in our opinion, the native is usually the preferred method.
It still is the better of it.
I mean, either way, if you use an external chip, you got to go through the PCI Express bus. And
what's this connector here?
So that is we ship with it a small little dongle, I guess you could call it. Plugs in there, and you can use a multimeter or a voltmeter to measure the voltages
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
You can measure
so
like
it's just
CPU
it's
voltage.
just got on the other side. It's got the
just
leads
a bunch of
for
leads,
it.
yeah, coming off, and you can measure like CPU voltage, PLL voltage, memory voltage.
I think one of the things projects Ken and I are going to do is we have one of these boards as well, is to do as much performance as we can get in, say, the what's that case we like, the Corsair Air 240, that Micro ATX case. Let's put in two GTX 980s, put in 5960X, and like get that level of gaming performance into a small form factor would be really pretty impressive. Yeah,
a lot of people have been, even after we launched this board, everybody has been asking us about a mini ITX model.
I don't even, can you physically do it?
We looked at it early on.
Yeah.
And it'd be very challenging. You would, I believe you would have to remove 2 of the DIMM slots.
Go to 2-channel?
Yeah, and you could potentially run dual channel, but that's one of the features of the new platform.
That'd be a harder
quad
sell.
Channel, right? So
yeah. Okay, all right.
But I don't know. It will.
And what's the there's the third board that you guys have. I don't have a mock-up of. It's the FTW.
The FTW, yeah. So
I have the box.
That's the one that's running on the test system over there.
Okay.
And that one is basically sits in between the FTW and classified. It's at a pretty aggressive price point. And so if you think of that microboard and you extend it and add 4-way SLI,
okay,
that's essentially the FTW board.
Gotcha. All right.
That one does have 8 power phases compared to 6 on the micro, but otherwise, and of course more SATA ports, but otherwise they are pretty close to the same spec.
Yeah. Well, so we're gonna go over some of the BIOS stuff here.
Sure.
Go some of that before we do, which motherboard do you want to give away?
What do you think?
Start with the micro. Go with the smaller guy first.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
So Jacob brought. I got a secret. It's an empty box. But
I didn't know that.
But it's an empty box. Jacob will ship these.
Yeah, we'll
to
ship
you.
from the EVGA office.
He didn't feel like bringing the actual products out, so we just brought out empty boxes. Totally the correct purpose, right? So we're gonna give away an X99 micro right now. I'm going to refresh our list of participants again. Go to pcper.com and make sure you fill out that form on our EVGA live stream post. And then I may or may not draw your name. It really just depends on how I feel. So we're going to give this away to... All right, we have the winner. I can tell you that your IP address starts with a 2. FL Falcon. FL Falcon. Favorite EVGA product of all time, HPCX.
HPCX?
I think maybe he's talking about the...
HPTX.
HPTX, yeah. The form factor size, yeah. So I think that's FL Falcon. You know who you are. You have a Mac.com email address. That's okay. We won't hold it against you. You still were able to win the X99 micro from EVGA. Congratulations on that. Now, we still have plenty. We have 2 motherboards, power supply, mice, and a 980 ACX2 to give away. So pay attention.
Let's upgraded it on the fly.
Sometimes we just do that. Let's talk about the BIOS that you've got here.
Sure.
I like people that are gearheads will appreciate some of the aesthetics up at the top.
So I think that with EVGA motherboards, we really kind of targeted at a specific user, and that's primarily overclocking, I would say. And with the BIOS, we also did the same. So you can see it's exactly kind of what you need to see in a BIOS. So we wanted to make it very simple, and so you can see like right at a glance. At the very top there, you can see your CPU multiplier, your B clock settings, your VRM, CPU temperatures, even the PCI Express slot. It tells you up in the upper right there.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, it tells you which one is populated.
Yeah, it tells you which is populated and what speed it's at as well. So our GTX 980 is at PCI Express 3.0.
I love the idea of that upfront information.
Yeah. So when we developed it, we didn't want it. We spent about 2 years developing this. The very early implementations we had, we didn't release because we wanted to make sure it was right. And actually getting the mouse, everything like the mouse control.
Mouse acceleration can feel really weird inside these things.
In the very first implementations we had this, the mouse felt funny. So, we spent a lot of time to refine this and get it right. And so that's this. And so when you open the BIOS, also here's your CPU cores and hyperthreading.
Oh, okay.
Or disabled.
All right.
So the very first tab you see when you get into the BIOS is the overclock tab, because we figure that most people will be doing that. But you know, one thing is you can use the mouse, or you can use the keyboard as well. So we wanted to make it so that people who use the keyboard to navigate the BIOS, it's still very familiar with them. So actually, you know, I prefer to use the keyboard still. So
I do as well. There's something about the speed and that control. I don't know. Maybe it's because we're older.
Yeah, maybe 10 years.
These young whippersnappers like Ken like to use mice.
But you know,
he's shaking his head no. So
you can use the mouse as well. It works just as good.
Yeah.
But so you have all your overclock settings here on the very first tab. Of course, the memory settings and all the memory timing settings as well.
It's so much stuff I don't understand anymore.
There's a lot of memory timing. Thankfully, with XMP, most of this is done automatically.
Yeah.
So we support up to today we support up to 3,000 megahertz with XMP.
Okay.
If you use manual control, you can set up to 2667. So technically, it is possible to run 2667 and then increase the B clock to get higher memory speeds.
Right.
But that is the official support from the Intel CPU.
Correct.
But we are working on an update that will enable 2800 megahertz and 3000 megahertz and 3200 megahertz with a 100 megahertz B clock. And it is possible to do it, but it's a lot of work.
Intel kind of waited too long on a lot of that stuff, because a lot of the memory guys like Corsair and like they released 3000 and 3132.
So today, if you run 3000 megahertz, if you enable
you're changing
XMP,
your B clock.
Your B clock won't increase.
And I think for most users that's probably fine, right? For me, doing benchmarking and analysis and needing to set a common placement, it's difficult.
It works, right? But ideally, you want a 100 megahertz B clock, because when you start increasing the B clock, that messes with your CPU frequencies and everything, right? Okay. So yeah, we're working on that.
All right. I like this.
And the other thing that we implemented this is pretty new for us, is a way to flash the BIOS from within the BIOS.
That needs to be there. I'm glad to see that it's there.
I'm happy that we have this today.
It's a super useful thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. No more floppy disks.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't that long ago that we finally got rid of floppy disks for like this specific purpose. Maybe it was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, for the longest time I still had a USB floppy disk that I used for flashing BIOSes and stuff, but I'm finally happy to have, I don't even know where that thing is today, but I'm glad it's gone.
We still have some bootable DOS USB disks that we use every once in a while for something funny. Like actually some of the video cards we've had to flash firmwares, they recommend doing that. So all right, that's cool. That's good stuff. All right.
Cool.
Anything else on the motherboard? Anything else upcoming? We talked about Mini ITX, probably not going to be a thing that happens.
We'll continue to look at it, but you know, it's a challenge, definitely. There is a, so on the X99 we had a board called a Torq board.
Right.
And that board was really popular as well. And we are working on another board on X99 platform, kind of in that same vein.
Okay, yes.
But, I don't have any information on that one yet. That one's coming.
Okay, all right.
The other thing that we kind of forgot to mention this here. This is a I/O cover. It ships with all of our motherboards.
Okay.
And the sole purpose of this device, its existence on this planet, is to make the I/O look very nice. So it just goes on like that.
If I turn this,
it's optional.
This way.
It's possible it may interfere with some chassis, but I haven't really seen any cases of that. So we made it optional, that you can put that on there if you like it. If you don't, then
I think it adds a nice finish to the design.
It looks in my opinion, it looks nicer.
Yeah, but it ships with all of them, right? So you don't have to, right.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, let's do another motherboard. Let's just give away.
Let's try the FTW.
I mean, it's all your stuff. I'm just giving it away. I don't. It's fine with me. As long as you're okay with it, I'm just going to keep doing it. X99 FTW.
We already gave that away.
No, we gave away the micro.
Yeah, we gave away the micro.
Yeah. Pay attention over there. FTW is going away, and if we accidentally give away two, it's probably okay. So let me. We'll refresh our list here. Anybody who was added in after the fact will still be entered. Okay. And here we go. Oh, the winner is Bata99, BATA99. That's his username there. U1, the FTW. They're actually the board we're using for our demo.
Yeah.
Right here.
That's the one.
So, that box. Anything else we want to touch on the motherboard side before we dive into some of the other products and eventually make our way back to that 980 ATX2?
I think that covers most of it. That's the new platform for us. We also have Z97 boards that kind of follow a very similar,
right.
You know, we have a mini board and a larger board and a classified board on that lineup as well. But
all right. Maybe we save that classified board for the end too? Maybe
I think that makes sense.
Do the classified and the 980 at the end. You know, we do have a classified yet to give away, as well as a GTX 980 ATX2 power supply and some mice. So real quick reminder before we move on to the next topic is if you go to PCPro.com right now, you go to the homepage, there will be a post titled EVGA Livestream. On that post will be a 3-outlet form, name, email, favorite EVGA product. By the way, Bata's favorite EVGA product was the X58 E758 motherboard.
Okay, yeah, that was a very popular one.
But the GTX 980 may overtake that, he says. Or maybe now the X99 FTW. You never know.
Yeah.
You never know. Congratulations to you, Brian. Okay, let's talk about power supplies.
Sure.
We'll talk about power supplies. You guys have, you've been in this market for a while now. How long has it been since you guys have started really?
Actually, you know, we launched a 1200 watt power supply many years ago.
Yeah.
And that was
the first one you guys released, right?
That was the first one that we had. But it wasn't until maybe 2 years ago that we put a big focus on power supplies. And we had a lot more models. And today we have 400 watt all the way up to 1600 watt.
1600 watts. And I can run that off a standard socket here in the US?
Yes, you can.
Like barely?
Barely, yes, yeah. Barely.
don't have mom use the vacuum cleaner on that same.
If you just have a regular PC, it's okay. But if you have like 4OS a lot, yeah, maybe.
Don't. Yeah, and when I worked exclusively out of the house, I had a certain set of sockets that were on a separate circuit run for all the crap that we did with all the testing and benchmarking, and they had black outlets instead of the white ones that we used, or the mauve or whatever it was, throughout the rest of the house. And the only thing I ever told my wife is do not plug anything into the black outlets ever. Like no appliances, nothing like that, because you have no idea what is running on those. Leave them out there. So in terms of power supplies, what's new? Like what is coming out? I think you talked about we're going to talk about a product that is coming out soon.
Yeah.
Right? Do we have one of those, or is that?
It's on the machine over there.
So it's on the machine that is running. What power supply are we looking at there?
So that is the 850GS.
Okay. So
we have 2 primary models today. We have well, more than two, but we have a G1 line and we have a G2 line. We also have P1 and P2, just platinum gold.
Okay.
But essentially, we have a G1 and G2. The G1 is intended to be a good power supply, and the G2 is intended to be a better power supply. And G2 has better things like better ripple control, better power output, more efficient design.
Okay.
And it's also a little bit more expensive, but not a lot. So the GS is the new power supply line. We'll have PS also.
Okay.
For platinum.
So the P and the G is a differentiation between what 80 plus rating you get.
Right.
80 plus gold, 80 plus platinum. 80 plus platinum, significantly more difficult to reach still?
Yeah. It's also quite a bit more expensive for
because
platinum.
of the different components you have to use to get to it? Okay.
Yeah, right. Titanium even more so.
There's a titanium, that's right. Okay, I do remember that.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have any power supplies that hit that yet?
We will have one. 1600 watt titanium.
The 1600 watt titanium. When you need all of the power, but you need it kind of efficiently.
Yeah.
All right.
Very efficient.
So anyway, the GS line again.
Yeah, so if you think of it that way, we have essentially the 1 model and the 2 model. So now we have an S model. And the one that's on the machine there is the new model. It's going to officially announce probably next week.
Oh, look at that. Sneak preview, everybody.
And
it's actually running.
The focus with this model was on the noise level.
Okay.
Essentially, so it's a very quiet design.
So I think you had a diagram here.
I think I need to reboot the PC over here.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Hold on 1 second.
No, it's shutting down now. Okay. So the power supply, when you say focus on noise, we're really focusing on fan speeds and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so it operates, so on the slide that I have, once we can get it up, it shows
we have a USB extension cable that seems to be acting funny.
Yeah.
So, sorry guys.
Hopefully we can get it with
Scoot
this
your
one.
chair back over this way some.
So when the power supply is idle, the fan shuts off.
Okay. All right.
And I believe it's basically it goes by power output. So 30%, if the power supply is below 30% usage, it'll turn off. Okay. You know, with the latest processors and especially Maxwell, that happens more often than not, where it's below 30% power usage.
Oh yeah.
Because they're so power efficient.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I still lost
our cable's out.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
well, okay. Well, sorry about that. We need to get new extension cables here. So, but the benefit there is quiet when you're not using power. How loud can it get when you're out? I mean, what is this one? What is it? 850? Is that what?
850 watt. Yeah.
Okay.
It's during normal, so it's completely quiet during idle. I mean, the fan is not spinning, and then I believe it's about 16 decibels during normal use, like gaming and such.
So I mean, that's almost.
It's still very quiet.
Imperceptible.
Yeah. Very quiet. So that was really the focus, and the actual the quality is very close to the G2 line. It's just a lot quieter.
Okay. Okay. So I mean, what is something that I have seen recently? Supernova. What is that brand associated with?
That's our power supply brand.
Okay.
So all of our power supplies
in its entirety is a Supernova brand.
So we have all of our power supplies are part of the Supernova brand.
Okay. So Supernova G2.
Supernova
P2.
G2, P2, yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, I mean, just kind of talking here, like, how has that grown? How has that market been for you guys? Is it something? Are you seeing a fall off in demand for that 1600, 1500, 1400 watt unit? Especially, I mean, as we talk about
after the Bitcoin mining craze.
Yeah,
it did change a bit, but there still is demand for the higher end power supplies. But overall, the entire power supply line for EVGA is doing really good. Yeah. Very good. Yeah. It's our second largest product category.
Oh, really? Okay. That's interesting.
Next to GPUs.
It's a craze that the mining craze, I guess, is really what drove those super high ones.
Yeah.
At first, it was super high powered GPUs like the 480, for example, that required power supplies that big if you wanted to do something like 3-way SLI. Now it's not really the GPUs that need it. It was, well, I guess if you were running 4 or 5 or all that, stuff.
So the only time that you would realistically need a 1600 watt power supply is if you're doing some crazy stuff like dual socket motherboards possibly, or 4-way SLI.
Ken's going to try to turn this off here, so he's going to power cycle the thing one more time as we
can
move the cable and everything. See if we can get it up one more time.
Yep.
I mean, if it's doing that well, I mean, do you think this is being released as an 850 and a 750?
We have an 850. We have an 850 GS. We have a 1050, and we have a 1000.
Okay. Okay. So the 850 is the lowest. That was go. I mean, do you have other units that go lower wattages than that? Right?
Yeah. We start at 400 watts today.
Okay.
And like I said, all the way up to 1600 watts.
Okay. All right. We do have, where's this one at? We did have, oh, here it comes again. Okay, so this is the 750 G2, insinuating, again, guys, it's an empty box. I don't know how to do that. So this is an 80 plus gold unit, fully modular. Are all the power supplies you guys make fully modular?
Most of them. The performance ones, yeah. There are, some of the entry-level models are not modular. It is more expensive to create a power supply that has a modularity. There's a secondary PCB.
You got extra connectors. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because there's a base PCB along the bottom of the power supply, and then you have a secondary PCB where all the modular connectors are.
Right.
So that does increase costs. But most of our power supplies do have, like the performance line, do have 100% modular cables.
I think it makes sense. The argument can be made that it's like, well, you're always going to need ATX, you're always going to need 4-pin, so it's okay. But the fully modular designs allow you to be, I think, cleaner in your system build if that's your primary goal. A lot of people don't care what the inside of their computer looks like. But for people who do, that modular design,
a lot of people
really
do care.
helps.
We hear it all the time about colors and stuff on our products, and we always listen to that.
Yeah.
To try
you got any LEDs in any of your?
No LEDs, no.
No LEDs in the power supplies? What about LEDs at the end of each cable?
Nothing like that.
You should do that. LEDs at the end of each power connector. I don't know. That sounds like something.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. So we're going to give away the EVGA 750 G2. I'm going to go ahead. I need to put this right there while I refresh our page and make sure we get all of our most recent additions into the submissions there. Again, PCPro.com. Look for that EVGA page. The EVGA news post. Click on the news post. You have to click on that news post title and you'll see that form, name, email, and favorite EVGA product. So let's draw for this power supply. And where are you at? There you are. We have this winner that is Darren. Darren is the only name left, but we have an email address. We'll say it's a Hotmail address. So Darren, if there is a Darren with a Hotmail address in the chat, congratulations, you won the power supply. His or her favorite EVGA product of all time, the Hadron. The Hadron.
That is our mini ITX chassis.
Working in mini ITX cases is almost always kind of a pain because of the size.
I mean,
But when you do them right, when they are built correctly, and they are the coolest looking in the fact that you can get, I think you guys built the Hadron so it could get, you could fit a Titan in there?
Yeah, you could put a
Titan Black in there.
Black.
Basically any full size.
Not Titan Z, Titan Black.
Not Titan Z, no.
Titan Black, no problem. Z97, mini ITX motherboards, no problem.
Right, yeah, that's what we used. I mean, we still use that Hadron with that motherboard for some of our systems that we have to move around here.
It's pretty popular. It's, it has an integrated power supply, 500 watt power supply, which is, good enough for even GTX. GTX 980 would be no problem in there.
Yeah, I mean, it's less power than those other cards that we just talked about, so it would definitely be even better than that.
Yeah.
All right, let's, we've got at least one more subject to go over. Right, and this is, where are we at here? Our mice. This is the most recent product line you guys have?
Yeah.
Right? The X10?
Yeah, I guess yeah.
I mean, unless you count like the 980s and the ACX2 and that stuff.
As far as new product line goes, it's the latest.
So give me and the people watching, obviously, a little bit of background on what the X10 Torq is. There's two different models, right? There's one that is standard, one carbon fiber.
So there's I think this one is, so this is the standard one. So
I like this. I like this one that's kind of decomposed, or not decomposed. Deassembled, thank you. Decomposed would be the incorrect thing for it. I like being able to see the inside.
You can see the interior. It's a pretty intricate design. We use really high quality materials on the inside, like Omron switches, which are rated for, I think, 10 million clicks or 20 million clicks.
That's okay.
Yeah, so that's a lot of clicking you could do on it.
What are the features that you think are most critical about
one of the
biggest
biggest features is the adjustable height. So we ship with this small little, I don't know if that's a wrench or a screwdriver or what you'd call that, but that kind of goes into the back of this is a prototype model, so I might not have it. But essentially that goes into the back of there. You can adjust the height of the...
you can see it raises the back. And then it's just to accommodate different hand sizes and different comfort levels for that. Like, do you prefer to have your hand as flat as possible? Do you want it to have more arch in it?
There's a few different type of ways to hold the mice. That people, there's the fingertip, kind of like this, and then there's the palm grip users who use the palm. If you raise it all the way up, it's a bit more comfortable for palm grip users.
What about sensor on this?
So it uses the EVGA 9800 laser sensor, which is an 8200 DPI sensor. So that's the sensor that we use on that one, which is their highest grade laser sensor that they offer today.
And the two models are the X10 and the X10 Carbon?
Yeah. The only difference between those two is the finish. So this is the carbon one here, and you can see it is...
Oh, let me see. Will that reach over here?
It is carbon fiber.
Oh, is it actual carbon fiber?
It's real carbon fiber.
Real carbon fiber. Did you hear that, Alan? We've got a real carbon fiber mouse over here.
Not fully carbon fiber, but the...
Well, the sides.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And really the only there's no difference to weight or anything like that. It's mainly aesthetics.
Right, right.
It looks cool.
Now, I know you guys have software, or mouse isn't, or USB extension isn't working, but the software allows you to do what with these?
So the software, you can configure each of the buttons. So this is an ambidextrous mouse, so you can use it right or left-handed.
Okay.
And you can configure that with one button through the software. You can set left-handed mode, and that'll just flip all the buttons over. You can also configure all the buttons. You can change DPI and the polling rate, up to 1,000 hertz polling rate. Of course, you have macros and things like that as well.
Right. What about LED control?
Yep, LED control is done through the software as well. There's 2 LEDs in here. One here and
one up by the wheel.
One up by the wheel and one where the EVGA logo is there. And you can configure those independently.
Okay. Yeah, you can give that a shot. We'll see.
Is this the one?
It's the one that's associated with our keyboard. We'll see if it actually does anything, but...
Oh, there we go.
So you want to open it up, and we can show the software and see. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pick our winners here. I'm going to pre-pick those.
It's not detecting the mouse, so...
The extension cable, yeah.
All right, no problem.
Ken, you want to see if you can just plug it in directly to the thing without the extension cable? See if we get it to work on that. We'll give it another shot here. We want to give it a fair chance. And I am, by the way, drawing currently 4. Is that where we're at?
Yeah, 4, right?
4 winners. No. Okay. All right. We're gonna draw 4 winners. For which mice are they going to get actually?
The standard Torq. This one here.
Okay. All right.
Torq 10.
Let's do that. I'll make sure we don't have any duplicate winners. That's not fair. Okay, one more. Sorry guys, I know the drawing part is maybe not the most exciting of the live stream. Unless you win, then I guess it is pretty exciting, I guess. Now, before we move on and announce the winners here, new mice, are they going to be a thing?
So we have 4 additional models that is in the works, and hope they can be out by November.
Okay, what's different about these new models?
I have some.
Oh, wrong one.
Wrong one. Sneak preview here.
Never before seen? Is this?
Yeah, this is the first time.
You're not just fooling with me.
This is the first time we've ever shown this ever.
Torq X5.
So we have the X5 laser.
Okay.
This is so the X10 mouse that we have today will continue, but we have additional models that will come in below that.
Okay.
And it'll share some of the features, the software, the macros, all that kind of stuff. It won't have the adjustability. And a few other things, but so we have the X5 laser, and then we have an X5 optical.
Okay.
One of the feedback that we got is a lot of people still like the optical sensors.
Why would they prefer that over the laser? What's the?
There is some people believe that there is additional mouse acceleration with the laser sensor.
Okay.
And you can disable that from the software. But there may be just a little bit there that some people perceive, or that may actually be there, that is not there with the optical mice. So we have both models.
Is that the name of the software? The Unleash software. Okay.
And we also have an X3 laser.
Okay.
Which is one step below that one. It uses a lower grade sensors designed to hit a very affordable.
That's just aggressive price point on it. Okay.
And then we have the standard X3.
How aggressive on the price points? Are you guys saying
we haven't finalized that yet, but I would say 30, 40, 50 range.
Okay.
Somewhere
that's significantly less than the X10, right? So if people want to take some of that feature set out,
the X10 is around 80 for the standard one, and then close to 100 for the carbon one.
And you're saying what was the timetable for these?
Hopefully by November.
Okay. That's right, you guys. I mean, hey, we've basically announced new power supplies and new mice. You sure you want to talk about any new video cards or anything?
I think I already talked about a couple. The Kingpin card and. So,
all right, we'll do that, and we're just gonna keep this. I mean, there's only one. Can we just keep we'll just keep the water block here for the one.
If you test it, if you want to test it.
Oh yeah, of course we do. All right, so we're gonna give away 4 of the X10, Torq X10 mice.
Yes.
All right, and I have drawn the winners. Be excited. This is the only one we don't have a box for. I can't hold up a shiny box.
Yeah, no box.
We have Michael Angeles. Like Los Angeles, but Michael Angeles. All right, congratulations. His favorite EVGA product was the GTX 780 with ACX cooler.
Okay.
Sounds like a recent convert there. The next winner, Brian Ehlers. His favorite product of all time, I think he's just here for the ride. GTX 980. GTX 980 is your favorite of all time. I mean, I guess it's a good product.
Yeah, it's an excellent product. I would pick that maybe.
William Rantasa wins he won a mouse, his favorite product of all time, GTX 770. Not a specific model of it, but that was his favorite on that. And then our fourth X10 Carbon goes to Carl Itterman. And his favorite EVGA product of all time was the SR2. He has one.
Wow.
That's a hell of a piece of hardware.
Yeah, the SR2 was an awesome board. I mean, it was like at the time it came out, it was one of the only dual CPU boards that could overclock. And so
yeah,
that was.
I remember Jeremy, our primary news guy, was just like he was obsessed with that motherboard. Anytime he saw a review or a story about it, anytime he went to CES and he wasn't there, he's like, "Hey, ask me if they're going to update that or if they're going to make a new version of that board."
Yeah.
How many PCI Express slots did it have? Like 8?
Something like that. Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous.
All right, so now what we're going to do is we still have 2 products to give away, the X99 Classified and a GTX 980, but we're going to upgrade this to an ACX2. We'll give those away in just a little bit here. If you want your last opportunity to fill out the form to win these, PCPro.com, look for the news post, EVGA live stream, fill out that form at the bottom, name, email, and your favorite EVGA product. Put in some good ones there. We want to know what products you are familiar with. And what we'll do is we'll do some questions. So if you guys have questions in the chat room, type them out to the username in the chat room, questions, cleverly named questions, and he will get them to me in the appropriate fashion. So let's look through a couple of these and see if anything has cropped up since we've been here. On the motherboard side, this was a good one. This was actually posted in on our website. Could the X99 Micro, this board here, be updated so that it could run SLI with 1 card in the top slot and the second card in the bottom slot? This would free up the middle slot for something useful like a sound card or give room for the top card to pull in fresh air.
So that actually does work today with a 5930 or a 5960 CPU. So
you basically, he's trying to do, here, let's do it over here. He's asking, can we get SLI to work with this slot and this slot as opposed to this one and this one?
Yeah, so that does work today with the 5930 CPU or 5960. The 5820, it's not supported. That bottom slot will be 4X.
Okay.
Because the CPU, the lanes are coming from the CPU. Unfortunately, there's no,
you can't change it after the fact.
You can't change it. Yeah, it's not a BIOS or it's a hardware thing that would have to be.
So if you have a 5960 or 5930, you can actually do what he's asking today.
You're good to go.
5820, you cannot. You've got to use those first 2 primary slots. Okay, that's a good question. It's a good question. Why does the Classified have 2 M.2 ports and the FTW has none? And then the MATX has 1?
Yeah.
So what's the differentiation there in that? Any reasoning behind that?
The main thing was the FTW. We really tried to hit a pretty aggressive price point on the product. So we didn't include any M.2 on that particular model. But like you said, all the Classified and the mini or micro board both have those. So if you're looking for M.2, I would look at either of those products.
It's a perfect segue into giving away the X99 Classified that has how many M.2 slots? 2. What's this board retail for?
$399.
Wow. Somebody's going to win a $399 motherboard. I'm going to refresh our page here. Hold that box. Just be the Vanna White of what's going on here. And we will make sure I refresh this page. We get all of our most recent entries into it. And drum roll. All right. Here is the winner of this product who wins an EVGA X99 Classified, Tony Norman. Tony Norman, favorite EVGA product of all time is still a GTX 980. Do you think these people own a GTX 980 already? It's possible.
It is possible. They don't have the ACX2 pretty much,
but they could have a.
There's no way they have ACX2 because we haven't shipped it yet.
We just got this in today.
But
literally, it showed up at our office today.
Yeah. So
just like this water block.
Yeah, both of those are like barely made it in time for the podcast. So I'm happy they did though.
So that is congratulations on the X99 Classified, which you can actually, Maury just posted his review of this exact motherboard on PCPer.com. So if you want to know what you're getting, or if you didn't win it and you want to know what you missed out on, you can go read that review as well. All right, let's see if we got a couple more questions before we give away the last prize, the GTX 980 ACX 2.0. Let us leave that right there for you.
Yeah.
Again, if you have questions, add them or submit them to questions, user questions in the MIRC chat. We answered the question about could you use other GPUs with Precision X. Let's see, something on the mice. Any more ergonomic designs in the future? Torq models that they're pretty large for big hands. Yeah. Are these new ones that we talked about a little bit smaller?
Well, they are certainly a bit more. So the X10 is an ambidextrous design.
This question, by the way, comes from YT Tech. So
the Torq X10 is an ambidextrous design. So I would say it's designed for left and right-handed gamers. So some people prefer like a more right-handed, if they're right-handed, obviously,
right.
More right-handed shaped mouse. And the new models are more, I guess you could call ambidextrous, have a more ambidextrous design.
Even more so than the X10.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they are designed for the right-handed gamer.
Oh, so they're not ambidextrous.
Right. Yep.
I don't know what the other term is. So they're more targeted at right-handed users. Right. Okay. Sorry, that's how it breaks down. You probably know the stats from it. What's the percentage of population that's right-handed versus left-handed?
Oh, that's a good question. I really don't know.
Yeah. Somebody in the chat will tell us. It's got to be like 90%, 10%. Does that sound right? If you were to just guess. Ken, Alan, anybody? Nobody? No? Alan throws his hands up in the air. I don't know either.
But, we will still continue the X10, which is an ambidextrous design. Yeah. And a lot of left-handed gamers really like that mouse a lot. So we will continue that.
Monodextrous, maybe that's a term. Okay. He also asked about any potential for wireless designs.
Wireless is a possibility. It's not something that's actively in the works, though.
Okay. Any reason? Is it you guys are just trying to figure out what the market is? Is it technological issues with wireless, performance issues with wireless?
I would say that these are our first mice models,
right?
And we'll continue to add more models as there's demand, and if there's demand for a wireless version, then we certainly will look at it.
Well, Y Tech he games on a 60-inch TV, so wireless helps with that.
Yeah.
Right. Did we answer what optical sensor does the X5 use? Like the X5 optical, is that something you know offhand?
I don't have that yet, but you will see soon with more information on those.
Okay. All right.
But I can say it's laser. The laser one's EVGA.
Okay.
On both of the laser ones, the optical one, I don't know the exact model, but we're still finalizing all the details on that.
Okay. Bombburst asks, how long has Jacob worked for EVGA?
Let's see, can anyone?
How long have you worked for EVGA?
Do you have a guess?
Do I have a guess? I'm going to go with 9 years.
Close, 8 years.
8 years, okay.
8 years. It will be 9 years, though, early next year.
And you're still there, so you must still like it.
Yeah.
Yeah? Everybody's treating you well?
It's good. It's going all right, yeah.
Let's see, we answered the question about EVGA and AMD. Jacob, what is your favorite sandwich?
My favorite sandwich? Oh my God, that is a really hard question to answer. I'm going to go with a meatball sandwich.
Meatball sub type sandwich?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good one. What does EVGA stand for?
That's another question that we get a lot. Initially, it stood for e-commerce VGA, I believe. In the very
doesn't roll off the tongue quite as well.
In the very early days of EVGA, EVGA was a little bit of a different type of company than it is today.
Yeah.
So today, it stands for Excellent Video Graphics Accelerators.
Did you just make that up?
No,
oh, okay.
I didn't make that up, but we did make that up.
At some point. Yeah. All right. That was from Space Bob, by the way. Larson CC says, EVGA is known for their fantastic support. I heard a rumor that some regions are getting longer support terms again, up to 5 years. Is that true, and is it coming to the States?
So we did announce a promotion on the 980 and 970. I believe it was only those two SKUs, where if you were in Europe, you had a longer warranty. 5 years, basically, as opposed to the 3 years warranty.
Okay.
So that one is exclusive for Europe, yeah.
Motherboard questions. Will there be a successor to the SRX? Any chance of a dual socket SR4 board? Are you guys kind of, did the dual socket thing kind of die away?
The problem is that the CPUs are locked, and B-clock overclocking is not what it used to be.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's why the SR2 was so popular, was because of the fact that you can increase the B-clock to really high levels. Even though you had a locked CPU, you could still overclock it really good.
Right.
But today is not really the case. We still look at the category, but there's nothing really actively in the works, I would say.
Okay. They're asking about this water cooler that we showed. Is it compatible with 970 and 980, or is this one
980?
Just only, 980 for now. Okay.
970 is actually a different design. It's a little bit shorter. You can see.
Yeah.
Here, it's 9.5 inches, so it's a little bit shorter of a card. So yeah, I won't.
Do you plan on developing a block like this for 970, or do you think it'll stay with the flagship 980?
Probably not. You know, I'm sure you will see third-party designs out there, probably, you know, from EK and the other guys for 970 cards.
Yeah. Backplates on these cards. Any cards that will ship with them, or maybe sell afterwards?
Backplates, yes. So we are planning to release backplates for the 970 and the 980.
Okay.
And another thing that came up recently is some people saw a promotion that we were doing to get a free backplate.
Okay.
And we had kicked that off right when the 980 first launched, but we decided to suspend it temporarily, as we are still finalizing all the details, including the regions that it's available at. So I know some people are asking about that, so I wanted to make sure to address that.
All right. Are there any plans for a trackball? I don't. Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay. Any news about any other EVGA cases in succession of the Hadron?
Nothing really actively in the works right now on that one. There is we do have the Hadron. We're continuing to support that one and sell that one, and it does pretty good. But you know, where we go with that, we're still working on it.
All right. I'm going to take one more question, and then we're going to draw. Not a product question.
My favorite
PC game. Oh. Wait, no, close. Favorite sandwich? Nope. Damn, still meatball sandwich. Favorite PC game
of all time?
It doesn't say. So let's do all time and now, like current game.
Oh, current.
What are you playing now?
Right now, with all this launch stuff, I haven't had as much time as I would like. But I did get pretty far in Watch Dogs. I think I've almost beat Watch Dogs.
Okay.
I've been playing Wolfenstein.
Yep.
And primarily those two.
Okay.
Yeah, primarily those
two.
But
we'll now go back all time.
Oh, man. Half-Life 1 is definitely up there.
Have you played it recently?
I have not.
I wonder how well it holds up.
I don't know.
Because I have such great memories of it, but it's one of those games that I'm afraid to go touch.
I mean, a lot of what it was doing at the time, I feel, was kind of groundbreaking for that genre.
Yeah, for sure.
And a lot of games have kind of adopted that. So yeah, I would say that, and maybe Quake 3 is up there. Quake 2 is up there.
It's a good
Doom.
One.
All up there as well.
All right, you ready? For the GeForce GTX 980 ACX2, retail value of
$549.
ACX2. Probably
a little bit higher. A little bit higher.
Maybe just a little bit higher. $550 to $580 video cards are going to win. This guy right here. I have drawn the winner. Crazy Chuckster. Crazy Chuckster, whose avatar on our website is Homer Simpson pointing a gun at me. Crazy Chuckster.
I think I've seen him in the EVGA forums as well.
His favorite EVGA product is the EVGA 680 Classified. EVGA 680 Classified.
Another popular one.
So there's a lot of people in the chat room screaming, no, it wasn't them that got picked. However, Crazy Chuckster seems pretty excited about it. Holy cow, woot, yes. All right, I think that's God. That's good. That's good news.
Well, it's good to know he's happy.
You know, thank you again for coming out. I know everybody watching on the stream really appreciates it. You know, bringing a lot of prizes to give it away is awesome. Everybody loves it. Even if you didn't win, guys, I hope you learned something. I hope you were able to take something away about these various product lines that EVGA has. And hopefully in the not too distant future, you can come back out.
Yeah.
We can maybe do some overclocking live and break some stuff, and I don't know, maybe fill with some water cooling on video cards.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. It was, you know, this is my first time here, and it's, you got a nice place here.
Thank you.
And you have gigabit down. So
he's going to come back. He's going to fly out from LA for the gigabit fiber internet. Yes. I can appreciate that. As soon as you posted those pictures on Twitter, people asking if they could move into the office, and it's a little awkward.
I'm considering to move here.
But you know, I trust. I could do that. But some random guy off the street, I don't know, right? But if, hey, it helps pay the rent, it helps pay the rent. So I thank you guys for joining us as well. I hope everything went well. If you have feedback for us, you can send me an email. My email address is all over the website, of course. And check our live streams. Post on the right-hand side. We do a podcast every Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. We record it live here like this. Usually Jacob's not sitting there. It's usually Alan, but, you know, same idea. And if you go to pcpro.com/podcast, you can see all those back episodes in audio and video form as well. And we do other live streaming events. Tom Peterson was here yesterday, talked all about Maxwell and demoed some stuff, and you know, really cool things are happening. We're working on several other upcoming streams. So if you want to know about our live events, if you go to pcpro.com/subscribe, you can give us your name and email address, and that's all I use that mailing list for, is to send you notifications when we are going to go live here. I sent one about an hour before this, and I sent one earlier in the week to make sure you had it on the schedule, because I knew you would want to know when we were giving it away.
Yeah, even I got the note. I popped up on my phone and said that I'm going live.
You're like, oh crap, I got to get ready. And also, we will have a shared Google Calendar for you guys too, as well. So, Jacob, thanks for coming out.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it. And we'll see you next time, guys. Thanks.
Bye.